everybody, my name is Citrus, and we had some breaking news just today. Some absolutely mind-blowing news. This actually really did surprise me when I first saw it. Sonic Frontiers is having a collab with Monster Hunter. On November 14th, a few days after the game comes out, they'll be putting out this Monster Hunter DLC where you can have these different costumes for Sonic, as well as a Monster Hunter themed minigame. And this is actually the second DLC that they've announced for Frontiers. The first being the Inugami Korone DLC, which, as far as we know, is exclusive to Japan right now, where you can have a different outfit for Sonic slightly. It's like his shoes and his gloves are different colors, and the little, I was about to say Koroks, the little Cocos that follow you around are shaped like Korone's audience avatar, as well as the option to have Korone just voice Sonic in the game. It's a pretty wacky DLC. But anyways, in terms of the Monster Hunter DLC that we're getting, I think it looks pretty great. I really like the new costumes that we're getting. Specifically, the full armor set I think looks really fun. It's super cool looking. I just love armor, and especially Sonic in armor. You know, ever since Excalibur Sonic, that really molded my little 9-year-old mind. And while we don't officially know what the minigame is, we did get this image of Sonic cooking over a fire, which is a thing that you do in the Monster Hunter series, so I'd imagine that this is part of the minigame. It also looks like it takes place in the same location as the big fishing minigame, so I imagine that this might just be the area where all the minigame stuff happens. And the cherry on top for this announcement, we got 2 new pieces of art. One from Yuji Uekawa of Sonic Team, and another one from someone on the Monster Hunter team. And I just always love this stuff, just seeing characters in different companies' art styles and different game art styles, and just seeing how they compare and contrast. I think it's really fun. And yeah, just overall, this DLC is looking pretty exciting. It's just exciting to have a collaboration like this going on in Sonic. But of course, it also brings up the question, what else? Like I said, we already have the Inugami Korone DLC, we already have this announced, the Monster Hunter DLC, so what other collaborations could they do to add to this game, to have even more crossovers and just fun DLC coming down the line? And so I've made a list of some potential options. Some of these are more likely than others. You could also think of this kind of as a wish list of things that I would just like to see them do or try for Sonic Frontiers, because I think it'd be pretty fun. So we're going to start with Sega properties, since those are probably the easiest for them to do a collaboration on. Since they already own the property, they don't gotta talk to other companies. And there's lots of great Sega stuff that I would like to see crossover with Sonic. I think the first 3 are pretty simple. You got Jet Set Radio, Persona, and Super Monkey Ball. All 3 of which were already featured in a crossover collaboration thing for Sonic Forces, so it seems very likely that these could show up in Sonic Frontiers in some way as some little collaboration thing, maybe in a similar way to how they do it in Forces, where it was like a big Sega DLC pack. But those have already been in a Sonic game, that's not exciting. What I want to talk about is Yakuza. I think it would be so cool to have a Yakuza collaboration for Sonic. I feel like that'd be so wacky, it'd be so weird, but it would also make a lot of sense. They're both Sega's biggest properties right now. I don't know if maybe in terms of money, I think there are some other stuff like Total War or whatever, which makes more money than Yakuza, but in terms of the core audiences, I think it's Sonic and Yakuza for Sega right now as the top dogs. It may be an issue that it is an M-rated series and Sonic is for kids, but they also did the Persona collaboration, and they didn't seem to have any problems with that, so I'm hoping for the best. Oh, and for the minigame, gotta be karaoke. You gotta have Sonic in a Majima outfit doing karaoke. That's gotta be it. On the flip side, almost the exact opposite of what Yakuza is, Hatsune Miku I feel would be a really funny crossover to have with Sonic. We've already seen a bit of a crossover, as in the Hatsune Miku rhythm games, they usually always have a Sonic outfit for Miku to wear, and so I think it would just be a nice full circle moment for Sonic to have a Miku outfit in Sonic Frontiers. I feel like that'd be super funny. Or alternatively, since that seems like a kind of a silly idea and maybe one that Sega wouldn't want to go with, make it a costume for Amy. That would be really cool. It would be kind of like that Twitter trend that was going on a little while ago. And of course, the mini game would have to just be a little rhythm game. I think it would be a lot of fun, but you do it exactly the way that Project Diva does it, where all the notes are flying all across the screen and it's crazy. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And of course, we're already getting this Monster Hunter DLC. Why stop there with the Capcom crossovers? Why don't we get the main man himself, Mega Man, in Sonic Frontiers? I feel like this would just make all the sense in the world. They're both iconic blue video game characters. It's the blue Blur and the blue Bomber. It makes so much sense. Me personally, I think it'd be really fun if we had the Mega Man X version of Mega Man crossover with Sonic, just because I kind of prefer Mega Man X. But either way, I think Mega Man needs to be there in some way. Also, Street Fighter, one of the most iconic fighting games, if not the most iconic fighting game of all time. It seemed like a missed opportunity to not have some sort of Street Fighter crossover there when you're already opening the door with collaborations with Capcom. You'd have Sonic dressed up as Ryu, and like for the mini game, it's gotta be a 2D fighter. You gotta take like the Sonic Frontiers combat system and then just lock the Z-axis and have Sonic fight like enemies in like a 2D plane like Street Fighter. I feel like that'd be super, super cool. And then other properties, you know, ones that aren't Sega or Capcom, just kind of spitballing here. These really are wild dream idea picks, but they're somewhat plausible. First one that jumped to mind when it came to companies outside of Sega and Capcom was Zelda, since obviously, it's no secret, Sonic Frontiers is pulling a lot of inspiration from Breath of the Wild, and I feel like, why hide it? Why try and be, you know, kind of cute about it? Let's have a Sonic and Zelda crossover, which isn't the most crazy thing in the world. We've had a Sonic-Zelda crossover in the past. With Sonic Lost World, there was this Skyward Sword-themed DLC thing that they did there, and why not do it again? Why not have a Breath of the Wild crossover with Sonic Frontiers? It would make all the sense in the world. And maybe this is the Splatoon brain rot talking, but I think a Splatoon crossover would be really, really fun. You could do some cute cross-collaboration thing where Sonic Frontiers is doing this thing, and then in Splatoon maybe they have a Splatfest themed around Sonic. There could be some fun stuff going on there, and for the costume, you just have Sonic dripped out in some Inkling gear, maybe give him the kind of dark outline on the eyes that most Inklings have. Not really sure what the mini-game for that would be, since I don't think they can just put Splatoon into Sonic Frontiers for a minigame, but maybe like a cyberspace level with a Splatoon theme would be really cool. And this one I feel like is a really fun idea. Final Fantasy. I think it would be so neat to have Sonic and Final Fantasy crossover, because they feel so different, but they are similar in a lot of ways, at least in my mind. And also, it would make Final Fantasy Sonic X real, and I need that. Please, give Sonic the Buster Sword and turn it red. For the love of God, it would be so cool. And him wearing like the Cloud armor set, or even other Final Fantasy characters, if he was like dressed like Titus, I feel like that'd be super dope. Or Squall, or just any of the Final Fantasy characters, I think would be super, super neat. And my last wild, insane crossover idea, Pokemon. I think it'd be really cool if in Sonic Frontiers we have a Pokemon collaboration where Pokemon just start appearing in the world, and like you wouldn't be able to do much with them. I'm not saying like add in a fucking Pokemon game on top of Sonic Frontiers, but just like having them maybe show up as collectibles, or who knows, maybe you get the DLC and then kind of like how the Corona thing, you can change how the Cocos look to her avatar character things. You can change them to look like different Pokemon. I feel like that would be so neat. You could have like an army of Pikachu or Bulbasaur or Charmander following you around, or like a mix of a bunch of different Pokemon. It would be dope. And I really could go on with more and more and more crossover ideas, because really I feel like Sonic is a franchise that could cross over with anything, and you'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. Sonic could cross over with like Doki Doki Literature Club, and you'd just be like, yeah, no, that makes sense. You know, I can see how that would work. But anyways, those are my thoughts on the Sonic Frontiers Monster Hunter DLC, as well as all of my wild pie-in-the-sky dream ideas for Sonic Frontiers DLC. But yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, click that like button, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, comment down below your thoughts on the Monster Hunter DLC, as well as your ideas for potential future Sonic Frontiers crossovers and DLCs and things like that. I think this game, I feel like they're putting so much into it that I could definitely see them doing quite a bit of DLC down the line, just to keep the hype going, to keep the interest in the game going, and to keep it alive while they work on the next open zone Sonic game. But yeah, so leave your ideas down below, and once again, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all later. Peace.